You know, centuries ago, people couldn't imagine that man was a part of God. People imagined that God made this universe the way you make a clay statue. But he had no clay out of which to make it. Back in those days when people thought that matter was absolute and permanent, there was nothing you could think of it except that God somehow, well, he did it. But they didn't understand. Now that science has discovered that matter is only energy, matter is a vibration of energy, now it's possible to explain that that energy is a vibration of thought. And those thoughts are vibrations of consciousness. And consciousness is God. I remember back when I was young, I told you I was 13 years old when I first started getting into astronomy and different things. And I finally reached the point where I saw that none of these things works. The only people who have really helped humanity have been the religious leaders. Why should that be? I had gone to church. I didn't believe in God. To me, the God that they presented to me in church was dictatorial and somebody I didn't really care to know. But I finally reached the point where I realized that there has to be a God. And I went out one night. It was in Charleston, South Carolina, where I was studying playwriting. And I thought there has to be a God. But if there's a God, what must he be? He can't be a judge. He can't be somebody waiting for me to make a mistake so he can clap me in hell for eternity. That doesn't make sense. That's too anthropomorphic. He can't be a he. This universe has got billions of galaxies. How can God be a he? And I thought, well, I'm conscious. It's consciousness in me that is making me ask this question. Therefore, God must be consciousness. And my consciousness must be an expression of his consciousness. And if that's so, and I found that sometimes when I drank alcohol, liquor, my mind was dull. And there were other times when my mind was clear. And when my mind was clear, I was more in tune with that consciousness. And it was dull, it was less in tune. And I realized that my job in life must be to clarify my mind and to know not only know who I am, but to know God as the source of who I am. His consciousness has to have produced everything. I didn't know about the scientific discovery that matter is energy, but on the level of consciousness, I had to say my duty in life has to be to seek God. I had never read about the saints. I didn't know anybody had had this ambition before me. I wondered, am I going crazy? And I thought maybe I'm just too city bred. I've got to get out in the country. And I went out into the country, and I remember looking at a dewdrop on a leaf. And I thought, that's beautiful. But I can't feel it. It's in my mind that I can see that it's beautiful, but there's a block between us. And I said, what can I do to remove this block? I've got to change myself. And so I came back to this thought, I've got to know God.